My wife declared, "Plenty of men want me." So I walked away, giving her the freedom. It begins with an ordinary evening at home. The protagonist, David, is in his late 30s, living a relatively stable life with his wife, Emma. They have been married for 8 years, and while their relationship had some ups and downs, it had remained functional. One night, as they have dinner, Emma drops a bombshell. "Plenty of men want me." This statement comes out of nowhere, catching David off guard. Emma says it with an air of both confidence and detachment. But David is left confused and hurt. David tries to brush off the comment, but the words linger. He recalls the times he's felt disconnected from Emma over the years, the emotional distance that had grown between them. The couple's once passionate relationship has now turned stale. But the statement still burns in David's mind, and he begins to question their entire relationship. The next morning, David confronts Emma about her declaration. He asks what she meant by it, but she seems almost nonchalant, claiming it's just a fact of life. She explains how men always flirt with her, compliment her, and try to gain her attention. It wasn't a confession of infidelity. Rather, it was an acknowledgement of her own attractiveness and power over men. However, David feels increasingly alienated by her casual tone. David starts to doubt himself. He questions if he's been neglecting Emma's needs and whether she might be looking for something more than what he's been offering. He reflects on their early years together when they were so deeply in love and compares it to the distant, almost indifferent relationship they have now. He becomes obsessed with the idea that Emma might be bored with him and might want someone else. Days pass, and David continues to ruminate over Emma's words. He recalls past arguments and misunderstandings that had never been fully addressed. Slowly, he comes to a painful realization. Their marriage had lost its spark long before this conversation. He begins to question whether Emma truly values him as a partner, or if she sees him as just another part of her comfortable life, something she takes for granted. David has a moment of clarity. He understands that if Emma feels empowered by the attention of other men, it's not a reflection of his inadequacies, but a deeper issue in their marriage. He wonders if Emma has been waiting for him to act, waiting for him to acknowledge her desires and needs. But at the same time, he starts to feel that he may have been living in denial, believing things were fine when they were far from it. David reaches an emotional breaking point. He decides that he needs to step away from the relationship, not in anger, but out of a desire to give both himself and Emma space. He realizes that both of them need time to reflect on what they truly want from life and love. He wants to give Emma the freedom she seems to desire, without clinging to a relationship that is no longer fulfilling. David tells Emma that he's leaving. He's calm, yet resolute. He tells her that he's not leaving because he doesn't love her, but because he wants her to be truly happy. And he believes that by walking away, he's given her the chance to explore the freedom she seems to crave. Emma is shocked, and there's a long, uncomfortable silence between them. She doesn't know how to react. Part of her wants to protest, but another part of her feels relief. David moves out of their shared home and into a small apartment. The initial days are filled with an overwhelming sense of freedom, mixed with deep loneliness. He spends his days reflecting on the life he had with Emma, all while trying to regain his sense of self. He starts to reconnect with friends and even picks up old hobbies that he had abandoned years ago. Emma, on the other hand, is left to deal with the consequences of her declaration. She begins to realize the weight of what David's departure means. She initially enjoys the space, but soon doubts start creeping into her mind. She questions whether she truly wanted freedom, or if she was just acting out of frustration. She misses David's presence, though she doesn't want to admit it. Both David and Emma begin to date other people, but the experience is different for each of them. David finds himself unable to commit to anyone, haunted by the memory of Emma and their past. He dates casually, but nothing clicks. Emma, too, attracts the attention of other men, but finds herself comparing every one of them to David. No one quite measures up to the person she had taken for granted. Months pass, and David and Emma cross paths at a mutual friends gathering. There's an awkwardness between them, but also an undeniable chemistry. They have a long conversation where they share their individual experiences since the separation. Emma admits she never expected it to hurt this much. David reveals that despite everything, He still cares deeply for her. But both of them recognize that their relationship has changed, and it's no longer the same as before. David takes time to reflect on his journey. He realizes that walking away was the right choice, but it didn't come without personal growth. He understands now that relationships require both partners to invest in them, to truly communicate and grow together. It was no longer just about love. It was about respect, effort, and mutual understanding. Meanwhile, Emma also goes through her own transformation. She starts to see the value in commitment, in building something lasting. She acknowledges that the attention of other men wasn't fulfilling her deeper emotional needs, and she feels regret for how she treated David. She begins to recognize her own emotional shortcomings and works towards self-improvement. David and Emma meet again, this time with a sense of mutual respect and understanding. There's no rush to jump back into the relationship, but both of them acknowledge the love they still share. They're no longer the same people they were when they first met, but perhaps there's still a chance to rebuild something new and stronger together. The remaining chapters will continue this evolving relationship, touching on themes of self-discovery, growth, and the complexities of love, as David and Emma work through their differences and decide whether or not they are meant to be together, or if they are better off apart. This structure is meant to outline the emotional depth and complexity of a 50-minute narrative, leaving room for reflections, conversations, and character development along the way. Each chapter will contain introspective moments, dialogues, and key turning points that move the story forward. David and Emma's meeting is the beginning of a new chapter in their relationship. It's not about picking up where they left off. Instead, it's about starting fresh. They decide to take it slow and focus on rebuilding their individual selves. David spends more time focusing on his career and personal growth, while Emma dives into understanding what she truly wants in life. Their lives are no longer intertwined in the same way, but there is still a spark of connection between them. David starts to notice how different he feels since leaving Emma. He's rediscovered parts of himself that have been buried under the weight of the relationship. He's more focused, driven, and has even started considering moving to a new city for work. Emma, on the other hand, starts volunteering and pursuing passions she'd long neglected. She's finding fulfillment outside of any relationship, but she knows deep down that she still has unresolved feeling for David. Though both David and Emma are growing, there's a lingering sense of loneliness that follows them. David realizes that, while he has his freedom, he misses having a true emotional connection. He tries dating again, but nothing compares to the bond he once had with Emma. Emma, too, feels the sting of her own freedom. At first, it was exhilarating, but she begins to question whether it was truly worth the price. David and Emma, still friends but with emotional boundaries, have another deep conversation about where they stand. They discuss their fears, their hopes, and their disappointments. David tells Emma how he's been struggling with the idea that they might never be the same again, and Emma admits that she was selfish in her pursuit of attention from other men. It's an honest conversation, and they both realize how much they've hurt each other in different ways. But there's also a sense of mutual respect that wasn't there before. As months pass, the time they've spent apart begins to take its toll. David starts to wonder if they've both changed too much to ever go back to how things were. Emma, while she still feels something for David, realizes that she can't live in the past. She's met new people, and she's had new experiences, but there's a part of her that still wishes things had been different with David. She doesn't know whether she's clinging to nostalgia or whether she truly wants to reconcile. One evening, after months of no contact, Emma calls David. She tells him that she's been thinking about their relationship more than she'd like to admit. She expresses her regret over the way things ended and how she has grown as a person since their separation. She asks if he's open to talking again, and David agrees. This time, though, their conversation feels different. There's no rush, no pressure. Just two people finally being honest with each other about their feelings. During their conversation, Emma becomes vulnerable for the first time in a long time. She admits that her initial declaration about other men wanting her was a form of insecurity, a way to feel validated. She confesses that she didn't realize how much David's presence in her life meant until he was no longer there. David, in turn, reveals how he spent the past few months working through his own feelings of inadequacy and loneliness. For the first time in a long time, they both let their guards down. showing the raw emotions they've been hiding. Trust is a delicate thing to rebuild, and David and Emma both know this. They begin to take small steps toward reconnecting. They spend more time together. But it's clear they're not jumping back into the relationship just yet. They are getting to know each other all over again, but this time with a deeper understanding of themselves. The distance they once felt seems to be closing, but they are cautious about rushing into anything. David and Emma go on a trip together, just the two of them. It's a test, a chance to see if they can truly reconnect without the pressures of their past. The trip is filled with moments of laughter, but also moments of silence, where they each reflect on how far they've come. It's not perfect, but it feels real. They're both learning how to be present in the moment with each other again. Back home, the reality of their situation sets in. The past cannot be erased, and both of them must confront their mistakes. David has to accept that Emma's need for external validation was something she struggled with long before their marriage. Emma has to confront the way she neglected David's emotional needs, failing to see how her actions were affecting him. They both realize that their marriage wasn't doomed by one moment, but by years of miscommunication and unmet needs. David and Emma have several heart-to-heart discussions about what they each need from a relationship. David expresses his need for emotional intimacy and clear communication, while Emma shares her desire for independence and feeling valued for who she is. They both acknowledge that these needs were often overlooked, and they start discussing how they can meet each other's needs in a healthier way going forward. They begin to set new boundaries in their relationship. Emma starts prioritizing David's emotional needs, while David works on giving Emma the space she desires. It's not about compromising who they are, but rather finding a way to coexist and grow together. They begin to see that their relationship, though imperfect, has the potential to be something new and stronger than before. As time passes, David and Emma's relationship continues to evolve. They both focus on their individual lives, but they're also learning to work together as a team. There are still challenges, of course, but they approach them with a sense of mutual respect and understanding. They realize that their love for each other is not about perfection. It's about the effort they both put in to make it work. Gradually, David and Emma's relationship transforms. They start to fall in love again, but this time with a deeper sense of appreciation for each other. They understand each other's flaws and strengths, and they embrace them. They have learned to communicate better, to listen more, and to give each other the space they need while still remaining connected. David and Emma decide to give their marriage another shot, but this time with a clearer understanding of each other's needs and desires. They are no longer the same people they were when they first met, but they're committed to building a future together, one that is based on mutual respect, love, and understanding. The road ahead isn't easy, but they are ready to face it together, knowing that the foundation they built is stronger than before. The story could continue with further challenges and triumphs as David and Emma navigate the complexities of their relationship, ultimately demonstrating the importance of self-awareness, communication, and the willingness to grow together. Each chapter would focus on different aspects of their emotional journey, gradually moving toward a deeper connection, or potentially a new chapter in their lives apart. The conclusion would center on the choices they make for their future and how they define their relationship moving forward. As David and Emma continue their journey of rebuilding their relationship, they encounter the return of old habits and patterns. Emma's desire for external validation and David's tendency to suppress his emotions occasionally resurface. They find themselves slipping into old arguments and misunderstandings. These moments test their resolve, but they both recognize that such challenges are inevitable. What matters now is how they handle these moments. They begin to remind each other their commitment to change, and slowly, they work through the setbacks together. The couple pushes each other's limits, not in a harmful way, but in a way that challenges them to grow. Emma tests David's patience as she becomes more independent, asserting her need for space. David, on the other hand, learns to be more vocal about his emotional needs. There are awkward moments when they both try to find a balance between togetherness and independence. Through trial and error, they begin to understand what truly makes them happy in each other's presence. Trust remains fragile as they navigate their renewed relationship. Both David and Emma realize that rebuilding trust isn't just about proving loyalty. It's about being vulnerable, honest, and open. Emma starts to share her past insecurities with David, explaining the reasons behind her desire for validation. David, in turn, opens up about his fears of abandonment and how he's been hurt in the past. Slowly but surely, they begin to restore trust through transparency and mutual understanding. One day, Emma has a breakthrough moment. She finally understands why she had acted the way she did during their marriage, seeking attention from others. It wasn't about the men who wanted her, but rather about her own deep-seated fears of being invisible, unimportant, or unworthy. She confides in David, and they share a heartfelt conversation about her insecurities. David listens intently, his heart swelling with compassion. He realizes that Emma's journey towards self-acceptance is something he must support, not fix. David, too, has his own healing process to go through. He begins to recognize how much of his emotional detachment came from fear. Fear of being vulnerable, fear of being rejected, and fear of losing control. He starts attending therapy to understand how he can communicate his feelings more effectively. Through this self-reflection, David gains a deeper understanding of himself and his role in the relationship. Emma encourages him to keep going, and David begins to open up more, no longer bottling up his emotions. Just as things start to improve, a major setback occurs. Emma encounters an old acquaintance who rekindles feelings she thought were long gone. She starts questioning her feeling for David, wondering if she's truly over the past. Emma feels torn between the comfort of her old life and the possibility of something new. David, sensing her emotional distance, confronts her. The conversation is intense, with both of them confronting the reality of their relationship. Emma admits that she still has unresolved feelings, and David feels a pang of fear that their hard work might have been for nothing. However, they both agree that they can't move forward without confronting these doubts. Through their heartfelt conversation, David realizes that they may need to let go of the idea of being perfect for each other. Instead, they agree to face their uncertainties head-on. They take a brief break from each other, giving Emma the space to explore her feelings. During this time apart, both David and Emma learn more about themselves, what they truly want, and what they're willing to accept. This period of self-reflection proves to be crucial for their individual growth, and it ultimately strengthens their ability to come together once again. After their brief separation, David and Emma reconnect on a deeper level. They realize that intimacy doesn't just mean physical closeness. It means being open, vulnerable, and emotionally available. They start having long conversations, not just about their relationship, but about their dreams, fears, and aspirations. They discover new ways to be close, and intimacy starts to feel more authentic. There's a renewed sense of affection and closeness between them, but this time, it's built on a foundation of self-awareness and mutual respect. David and Emma begin to actively rebuild their life together, this time with a clearer understanding of each other's boundaries and needs. They establish new routines, prioritize communication, and make a conscious effort to nurture their emotional connection. They travel together, experience new things, and create new memories, all while constantly checking in with each other to ensure they're still on the same page. Their love is no longer a simple, unquestioned commitment. It's a living, breathing connection that requires care and effort. Despite their progress, external influences continue to challenge their relationship. Friends and family members who had witnessed their struggles start offering unsolicited advice. Some are supportive of their reconciliation, while others remain skeptical, questioning whether they'll truly make it work. Both David and Emma must navigate the opinions of others while staying true to their relationship. They realize that the opinions of those around them shouldn't dictate their choices. Instead, they trust each other and the work they put into rebuilding their bond. As time goes on, David and Emma begin to realize that their relationship isn't just about overcoming past mistakes. It's about facing the future together. They start setting goals, both individually and as a couple. They talk about what they want in the long term, whether it's having children, building a future together, or pursuing new career paths. They realize that their journey isn't over yet. It's just beginning. They are no longer defined by the past, but by the future they are building together. David and Emma face another test of trust when Emma receives a tempting job offer in another city. She is excited about the opportunity, but is also fearful of the distance it could create between her and David. She feels torn between her career ambitions and her relationship. David, sensing her conflict, supports her decision, and encourages her to follow her dreams, even if it means a temporary separation. They decide to test their trust in each other by maintaining their relationship despite the physical distance. Emma's move to the new city brings a sense of independence, but it also strengthens her and David's bond. The physical distance forces them to communicate more openly and honestly. They make efforts to visit each other regularly and continue to support one another emotionally. Their relationship becomes more resilient as they learn how to maintain intimacy despite the challenges of being apart. They understand that love isn't about proximity. It's about connection. A sudden crisis tests the strength of their relationship once again. David faces a personal setback, a health scare that leaves him vulnerable and unsure of his future. Emma drops everything to be by his side, offering him the emotional support he needs. This event is a turning point for them. They realize how important they are to each other and how far they have come since their initial separation. The crisis strengthens their commitment to each other and deepens their understanding of love, loyalty, and vulnerability. Through the ups and downs, David and Emma learn a valuable lesson. They can never take each other for granted again. They both promise to cherish the bond they share and never allow complacency to creep back into their lives. They make a pact to always communicate, to always put effort into their relationship, and to never stop growing individually and as a couple. Their promise becomes a foundation for their future. As their relationship reaches new heights, David and Emma decide to celebrate their love. They renew their vows in an intimate ceremony, surrounded by close friends and family who have supported them throughout their journey. The ceremony is a symbol of their growth, their resilience, and their commitment to each other. It marks the beginning of a new chapter, one where their love is not only enduring but also thriving. David and Emma realize that life is unpredictable and that their future together will not always be smooth. However, they embrace the unknown together, confident in their ability to navigate whatever challenges may come. They have learned to face their fears, to communicate openly, and to grow together. The future is no longer something to fear, but something to look forward to. As the years go by, David and Emma's relationship continues to evolve. They face new challenges, experience new joys, and support each other through it all. Their love has transcended the struggles they once faced and has grown into something deeper and more enduring. They look back on their journey with gratitude, knowing that the hard times were what ultimately brought them closer together. Decades pass, and David and Emma continue to walk through life together. They experience the challenges of aging, the joy of raising children, and the quiet moments of companionship. They face the test of time with grace, knowing that their love has been forged in the fires of hardship and has come out stronger. Their bond is unshakable, a testament to the work they've put into their relationship. In the final chapter, David and Emma reflect on the journey they've been on together. They are no longer the same people they were when they first met, but they are better for it. Their love has been tested and refined, and it has withstood the trials of time and change. As they look toward the future, they know that their relationship will continue to evolve, but will always be rooted in the love, respect, and understanding they've cultivated over the years.